Hello. Excuse me. How is everybody doing this morning or afternoon, depending on where you live? It's exactly noon here. We're doing good over here. Vero was got a little sick this weekend, so we didn't end up making it to New York City Pride, which was a bummer, but oh well, life goes on. Let's see. Am I? Yes, good. I seem to be live everywhere. I got a excuse me, if you're on Instagram, I did have a notice when I was setting up the live today that there's some like StreamYard is having, which is the place that the um, program I use to do my streams from. There is apparently a little bit of some issues with Instagram. They're having some issues today. So if things get wonky over on Instagram, you might want to try to come in through YouTube or Facebook. But it looks like it's working. I see people joining, and it's acting like it's working over there. So that's good. We have Monique here, and Dulce Simputo says 2 thumbs up and okay over on Instagram, which is awesome. Thank you. All right. And Sarah also says hello over on Facebook. And oh, look, I have a banner on. Not that it's a horrible thing to have the Patreon link up on the banner, but that was not an intention. All right, so there we go. I must have left it on from the end of last one, and because I used the same studio setup, if I leave one on, I guess at the end of one live stream, it's still on again at the start of the next one. Didn't know that, but now I do. You learn something new every day, right? All righty. So today we were going to talk about a little bit about that crochet along we're doing with Crochet Foundry and Jessie at Home, the kind of outdoor summer fun crochet along. And I was just kind of curious what you guys like to create, knit or crochet. It's actually a crochet along and knit along. Or if there's things you like to sew or whatever, what do you guys like to create for your outdoor fun? I would love to hear about it. And I realized now that as I was opening things, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'll open the other one I'm going to go ahead and open it. We are going to. Oh, I didn't set up the share screen. I normally set that up before we go live, and today I did not. So I'm setting up my share screen right now so that I can let's see. Oh, look at that. Share with you guys. So over on Jessie at Home, I think I actually prefer this share screen when I'm here by myself. There we go. Over on Jessie at Home on the blog, I shared a post. If you get the newsletter, you will when we're on a live. Here we go. And that is 4th of July quick craft ideas. So this is just some quick craft ideas if you were planning on going somewhere and it's rainy, and if you're having people over or doing something and you want to make something before you go, these are a lot of just like really quick little craft ideas. Some are really more suited for little kids, some work for everybody. It's a nice little collection of quick craft ideas. Most of what I did link these, all of these links are actually they're affiliate links that actually go to Blick Art Supply, which it was originally, I think it still is called, but people giggle, so they just kind of go by Blick at this point. Their art supplies, at least in this area. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if school art departments in other areas get them, but at least in this area of the United States, where I'm in New Jersey here, a lot of the local schools get their art supplies from Blick, from I think it's dickblick.com. But yeah, so they have really great supplies, everything from like the little pom-poms and felt shapes and wooden craft sticks, but they also then have like the really high-end art supplies as well. Like they have arts and craft supplies. It's awesome. And they have very reasonable prices, and if you're buying large amounts of things, they have discounts for if you buy larger things. So I really like using their supplies, and you can see I have, even though these are things that you probably have on hand, I've linked them over there with affiliate links to blick.com. And then, you make little paper bunting. There's various things, the mason jars. There's I meant to check and see if the fairy lights have an actual name. The flameless tea lights, which are those like battery operated little tea lights. I should have linked these things. And then the fairy lights, they're usually battery operated, but it's like a really small strand, a really short strand of like Christmas lights, right? But it's a short strand. And so you could kind of bundle them up and stick them inside a mason jar and turn them on, and they look like little fairy lights, or they look like maybe you have a jar full of fireflies, but you don't have to worry about the fact that you have a jar full of living things. So those are really fun, especially if you're like out later in the evening, while you're waiting for the fireworks to start. If you're going to the fireworks or whatever, Doug and the kids usually do go to the fireworks. I don't. They go really early, and it's usually hot. And to be perfectly honest, the town I live in is just, it's really kind of, it's too conservative for me. And I get really frustrated and angry with the racism and homophobia and transphobia and just all of the evil freaking people in my town. So I tend to stay away from a lot of the social things that are within my town. I like to go to the next town over, Montclair, and that's like things there much more my kind of people. So sitting around for like 2 or 3 hours before the fireworks even start, just so I can be deafened by fireworks, is not my idea of a good time. But to each their own. So anyway, the little fairy lights or whatever inside the mason jar are fun. You can decorate them by painting them. This is just one with like the twine and the ribbon wrapped around them. Some of these are stock images. I don't like something like this where I'm giving you a lot of ideas. I didn't necessarily have the time to make each individual item. So I found some stock images that would work with the item if I didn't have time to make it. Well, not even all of them have images, but like this is a stock photo too, because it's like you can make if you run your ribbon through it and whatever. So, but then there's things like this is a really fun paper towel roll windsock. Okay, and you can either, these are stickers, star stickers. Right? So you color in it. This is a toilet paper roll. I think I said paper towel. This is a toilet paper roll. Let's see, is that like I said, everything's so slow when we're on the live. And so have the fireworks here in Canada yesterday because it was Canada Day. Okay, I didn't realize they were so close together. So that was a little windsock, and then this is a very glued together or taped together towel roll for this, or make a smaller one. Like this one is two that are taped together wrapped with red. This one that's wrapped with the red and white stripe is just one. So you can make these little rockets in different sizes. With like a small one would be one toilet paper roll, a medium sized one would be two toilet paper rolls, and then a large one might be like a paper towel roll, right? And then you just make your little, roll up your little top for it, and which you just cut out a circle. To make this little top, you cut out a circle. You can use like a plate or a cup or whatever to trace it. And then you just cut a little wedge. I usually cut out like a quarter wedge. So like you cut 1/4 piece of the pie out, and then you fold it up and tape it together. And that's how you can make a little, the cute little top for it. This one's made with blue paper and then more of those white star stickers. And then you can glue on, like a skewer from the kitchen. Just make sure if kids are doing it, nobody gets stabbed, or a dowel rod or something. And I think at the end of this, I have a picture of it like stuck in a jar of sand or whatever. Or you can stick them in your plants if you want to do it with plants. Obviously, these are not going to be weatherproof. They're not waterproof. Okay, water resistant. They're not. Now, if you did this with fun foam, that like you could use that fun foam that you can get at craft stores. It's like they're like sheets of felt, but they're not felt. They're foam, or sheets of paper, but they're not paper. They're foam. And those are fine outside in the water. So if it rains or whatever, you could make it with that. And then you could also, if you wanted to make a thicker one, you could use a pool noodle for the thicker one, and then the fun foam for the covering. Whatever floats your boat. And then those you could stick in, and you could use ribbon as opposed to like shred it, as opposed to paper that's been cut to make the little ribbony bits on it. You could use fabric ribbon to make the little flame coming off of it. And then it would be water resistant to do that outside, right? That would be super fun. Comments. All right. So then, there's splooching paint where you just like stick like a bundle of and you can take a plastic fork and like bend the ends funky, and use that to make firework lines. Or you can just paint the firework lines with pencil, or you can get really fun and grab a handful of grass, as long as you're not pulling it up from somewhere that somebody will be mad at you. Grab a handful of grass and stick it in the paint, and then sploosh that on the paper, and make a little firework that way. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever makes you happy is like a fun way to make little fireworks. Little kids can even just use their little fingers. There's all those little fun things. You can make, your beaded bracelets and necklaces. If you're planning ahead of time and like wanting to have like a whole little day going on with your kids, you could make some t-shirts. Of course, there's paper crowns and hats, and you can also do that again if you're worried about weather. Although if it's something you're wearing on your head and it starts to rain, I have a feeling you're going inside. But you can also make those with the foam. They would at least last longer than the paper ones with the fun foam. And, decorate your table with some of these ideas. The utensil holders that you can make out of like tin cans, like this is you could use this for a vase or a pencil holder. These are just straws with, again, you take your paper. Okay, you take a little rectangle piece of paper and you put the little slits in it so that there's just a little firework fireworks, super fun and quick. You toss them into a little jar, a little can that ring toss, flag hunt, chalk mural contests. More tips. Remember, be careful with age wise if you're using, what crafts you're using depending on the ages of people. And here's more examples of the little rockets. This one is wrapped with more the foil paper. This one is actually using the blue bendy straws as the fire. Colored sand inside one of those little fish bowls with more of those white star stickers. All right, white star stickers everywhere. So there you go. There's just some fun little 4th of July quick and easy crafts that are not necessarily yarny, but of course then there's also tons of yarny stuff. We have been sharing some outdoor. Oops, that was the wrong button. I wanted to close this so that there we go. So brain fry. Oh yes, the crochet along we're doing right now with Crochet Foundry and Jessie at Home is the outdoor summer fun crochet along. So we've shared a knit and a crochet triangular bunting pattern, and then I'm actually in the process of updating a whole bunch of more other patterns. This one that I'm working on right now, there's actually 2 different crochet stars and 1 knit star. And this crochet star was originally written as a trivet, and or it could be a trivet, it could be a tablecloth if you make it really big. It could be a little placemat, depending on whatever size you make it. It's just a basic little star that has the sides are solid. I also have another crochet star pattern that's smaller, that is more of a granny square style, and that one we originally made as bunting, again, like Stars and Stripes bunting. Sarah loves star patterns because you can just keep going as big as you want. Exactly, right? And this one is really easy. Thank you. This one is really easy to keep going as big as you want, which is why I love this one. And I decided what I was doing right now, and I'm going to be finishing this up tonight on our sit and stitch, and I'll make sure you know when that is and everything in a bit here. But I'm making the same size in white right now. Okay, so I think I might be on the last row, if I remember, on the last round. I think maybe. Am I on the last round? I might be, or I might still need one more. No, it looks like I'm on the last round. So what I'm going to do at the sit and stitch tonight is finish this one up. Oh yeah, it looks like I have to go from here to here. This is where I've stopped the round that I'm on right now, and this is where it started. So I have to finish up this round. And then what I'm going to do is make a pillow insert for it. So all we're going to do, and I'll do it tonight when we're having our sit and stitch, is I'm going to put this down on the fabric I want to use for the pillow insert, and I'm just going to trace around it, right? And then I'll cut out a little bigger than the tracing line, and I'll sew it together. Now, obviously, we're tracing around this. It's actually going to be just a tiny bit bigger, because when you join this is going to get a tiny bit smaller, right? But when I put a pillow insert in knit or crochet, I like to have the insert be bigger, because the knit and crochet grows, right? And you don't want it to grow so much that your pillow becomes baggy. And I also really like overstuffed pillows. So, I'll trace it. And thank you, Monique. I'll put it out on my fabric. I'll trace around it, and then I'll cut out farther outside of the lines. From that, I'll cut 2 of them. I'll just have it folded in half and cut 2 of them. And then you sew them together and leave a little bit open and stuff it. And then you join your 2 pieces however you want to join them. I'm thinking what I might do is put it together like this way, and then use the yellow to do the surface crochet where you just slip stitch through both of them so that I can see the little loopy sides of it here on the right, because I think that would be really pretty. I need to check and see if I still have yellow of this yarn. This is the oh, it's called Squishy. Squishy yarn from Hirschner's. I love that it's called Squishy, because when I use it, I go squishy, 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 and my kids laugh at me. My husband shakes his head because he can't figure out what in the world he did to deserve somebody like me, because I'm so freaking awesome. So anyway, so you know, I'll get this finished up tonight when we're on our live. It'll be super fun. Let's see, what is this? Shay was showing us during the sit and stitch tonight. Yes, I will. I'll be showing that during the sit and stitch tonight. You know, if everybody else is like doing stuff, whatever, but it'll be, it's not going to be like the whole 2 hours. It'll be like, okay, well, I have to finish this. I doubt I'm going to get to finishing this before the sit and stitch starts. So first I have to finish this last round that's almost done. And before the sit and stitch starts, I will find the fabric I want to use to line it. And then I just have to cut it out, and then I'll real quick sew it together. You won't probably see me sewing it together because I'll sit over there and hit mute on my computer for the like 30 seconds, minute it takes me to sew it around on the sewing machine. And then, you know, we'll show everything here. It'll be fun. And it'll just be like a minute here and a minute there throughout the sit and stitch. So it's not going to be all about me teaching you how to do this during the sit and stitch. It's still all the regular sit and stitch stuff of just being social and everything. It'll be fun. So we definitely would love to have everybody there, which makes this a really good time for me to show you again where the information for the sit and stitch. So as always, you head on over to crochetfoundry.com. If you're on a mobile device and you don't see the menu here, there's the hamburger menu, which are those 3 lines over there that you click on, over on the left that you click on, and it'll like drop this menu down. Under community, there is an event calendar, and you will see that tonight our sit and stitch is from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. So it is right now 12:22 p.m. Eastern. So tonight's sit and stitch. Sorry, it's taken its sweet time. Here we go. So today is July 2nd, and you can see right now we are at lunch with the Foundry, but there is an at the Foundry evening sit and stitch. The ones that are called at the Foundry are open to everybody. All right. The ones that are called patron lives are for the paid patrons, and it's clear when you click on them and you read the information. So here's this. It pops up a little information, but if you click on it, it will open up larger and shows you that it is from 7 to 9 Eastern tonight. It's free and open to all. You're welcome to come and go as you please. Here, you can register here. You'll get the link to join here if the meeting has already started. I think even if it's almost about to start. And you can always add these events to your calendar. Google iCalendar, Outlook 365, Outlook Live. So there you go. And that is where you can find all of our events. And I'm trying to make sure that I put all of our events that we're doing on there. I'm getting better at this stuff, guys. Now that we have Crochet Foundry as a seasonal magazine, I have more time to actually be on top of this stuff. I need to get my mouse actually on the correct screen instead of just a picture of my mouse on the correct screen. Here we go. And pop back over to here. So that is tonight's sit and stitch. We have a really good time. Please come along to it. You can crochet, you can knit, you can sew, you can craft, you can just want company. It's, you know, I have rule number 1 is be kind. Rule number 2 is don't make me make any other rules. And that's it. All right. So it's pretty easy, good to go. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to share with you today, because a couple weeks ago, we learned that July is Disability Month. It's National Disability Month. So like June was Pride Month, July is Disability Pride. And so this is Disability Month, disability awareness. So here was, because when we were talking about making the bunting in the different colors you can make it in, I made one that was in the colors of the college that my daughter's going to. You can make them in the colors of your favorite sports team. You can make them in colors that work for whatever holiday you're celebrating. You can just make them in colors that match your house or your decorations outside, or, you know, whatever floats your boat. Or you can just make them in like, you know, whatever colors, just because it's bright and happy is nice. So you're talking about that, and somebody said that they were going to do theirs in the colors of the disability awareness flag, or the disability pride flag, which had us all like, wait, tell us about that, because we didn't know. So then earlier today, this was shared on my feed on Facebook, and I was like, ooh, I should share that, because it not only has the colors, but it tells you what they all are. So I just thought that was cool, since one of our members a couple weeks ago was talking about making the crochet or knit. I think she was going to do the crochet bunting in the colors of the disability pride flag. So we have the green for sensory disabilities, blue for psychiatric disabilities, white for non-visible and undiagnosed disabilities, gold or yellow for cognitive and intellectual disabilities, and red for physical disabilities. So, you know, I learned for the first time a few weeks ago that there is one of these flags when we were talking about the different colors you can make your crochet bunting in. I don't know, some of you guys probably already knew that, but, you know, I love learning new stuff. It's always fun. So I saw that this morning, and it made me think of you guys, because we were having that discussion a couple weeks ago. So there we go. Let me unshare my screen now. And we're back. So let's see. What are you guys, if you guys want to let me know any of the things you like to knit or crochet or create for your outdoor celebrations or whatever, go ahead and let me know. I always like to know what other people like to craft for and to create for. Monique also says that she didn't know about the disability pride flag until we had that live, where one of the makers told us about it. So I know, like I said, we have for the crochet along and knit along, I have 2 different star patterns of crochet and 1 star pattern in knit. I'm working on getting those patterns updated, and those will be out soon. There is a bread basket pattern that I was like halfway through updating when I realized I really needed to stop so that I could come up on here. And it's a cute little, it works as a bread basket or as a like a utensil basket if you're having like a picnic or whatever and you want to put your utensils in something. I'm thinking as I update it, I might try to do it in like another larger size for a larger loaf of bread, because this really fits more of a smaller loaf of bread, and maybe even a smaller size that's a little short. Like the size that it currently is will fit it fits like the little braided loaves of bread that I always liked to get before when I made this pattern. And you could put utensils in it, and then there'd be room at the other end for like napkins or whatever. But what I might do is do like a set of 3 baskets, where the smaller one is a good size for utensils. The medium and the large are 2 different kind of bread, 2 different size kind of bread baskets, or whatever you want to put in them, you know. So as I'm updating it, I'm thinking it would be nice to have it in a couple sizes. So that's a lot of what I'm doing with these patterns, because most of these patterns were patterns that I wrote in 2015 for like the patriotic party crochet along and knit along that I had. So I'm just making sure that they're really well written, and I'm adding extra sizes to some of them and extra ideas of what you can do to modify them, and that sort of stuff. So, and what I might just do with the breadbasket, rather than writing the different sizes, I might put in the modifications how to make it smaller or larger. Smaller is super easy because you just stop on the bottom earlier, and then the sides are just however many stitches were left. And larger, you just have to, continue some of the increases, but I'll explain it a little better. So anyway, wait, there's more. Only work with cotton and cotton blend yarns during the summer months. Yes. A lot of people over the summer months when it's hot out, and if you live somewhere where it gets really hot, especially if you live somewhere where it gets humid, right? We'll work with like cottons or bamboo or linen, the things that kind of they're not as sweaty and they don't stick to you as much. Like some things I find, I had a wool that was a little fuzzy. It wasn't a mohair, but it was just a little bit of a fuzzy wool. And I was like, the fuzz was sticking all over. I take an SNRI, which is a kind of anti-anxiety, antidepressant med, right, that I have to take daily. And various SSRIs and SNRIs and a couple other kinds of medications, usually to deal with mental disabilities or mental differences, will make you much more susceptible to heat stroke, much more it's just, you have to drink, you have to stay more hydrated, all of that sort of stuff. So like when it gets hot and humid, I will get sweaty, and then all of my yarn sticks to me, right? So yeah, you have to find the yarns that don't like stick to you when it's humid out. You see, Sarah says it's hot here all the time, so you just work everything in all the time in your AC. Exactly, and that's the other thing. If you have really good AC and like maybe a dehumidifier, depending on where you live, that is awesome. You may see everything around me blowing, because while I'm in my basement where it actually stays pretty cool because of the humidity here in New Jersey, if the air is not moving, I still get sweaty. It's still hot. But when I have the fan going, I have a little oscillating fan over here, which is why sometimes things are blowing and sometimes they're not, because the fan is oscillating. It keeps the air moving, and it's like so nice and cool down here. Sometimes like my husband or the kids will just come down here and be like, I'm just going to sit down here. It's hot up there, right? Because we don't have AC in our house. My house was built in 1900, and it's not built in such a way that like central air really works very well. I can get, and I would like to eventually get those like wall unit air conditioners, like Mitsubishi makes them, and I think some other companies might as well. But it's like, had an estimate done for getting it done in the house. The kids were in kindergarten. They just graduated high school, and when they were in kindergarten, the estimate was 19 grand for the whole house. So while the cost of the units may have come down since then, I have a feeling just because they're like easier to get, more people are making them now, but I'm sure the installation price probably went up. So it's probably more than 19 grand at this point to do it, which is why we still don't have air conditioning in this house. But we have lots of fans, and our bedrooms each have a window air conditioning unit. We keep the bedroom doors shut. And for those of you trying to save money who have air conditioning, like window units in your bedroom or whatever, or save electricity, be kind of the planet. One of the things we all do in this house is when you go to bed, you put the AC on the unit, and then when you get up in the morning, you turn it to fan. Most ACs have, most air conditioning units, wall units, or window units have a fan option. I can't think of what you call it, a fan mode and an AC mode. So the fan mode, basically, it just works as a window fan, whereas the AC mode has got the actual AC part going, right? So like my husband tends to go to bed first and leave first and leave the bedroom first. I tend to go to bed second and leave the bedroom second. So when he goes in, he switches the air conditioning on to whatever level air conditioning it needs to be on. And then when I leave in the morning after my shower, I switch it to like low fan, and we just make sure that the door is always shut. And that way, when he comes in at night, it's still pretty cool in there. You know, it's not as cool as we'd like it, but it's still pretty cool in there. And it cools off pretty quickly when he turns on the AC, but it drastically reduces our electricity bill, which is nice. So there's a little tip for y'all. Monique says hot and humid and hot, melting in Toronto. Yeah. Humid is icky. Black. I've got a few more people here over on Instagram. There was something else. I don't remember. So we've got our various, our outdoor crochets that we're working on. Nobody is giving me any outdoor crochet things that they like to do other than using yarn that doesn't stick to you. Or crocheting in the AC or knitting in the AC, whatever. I'm trying to think what else we have coming up in the crochet along. Just like flat circles and squares that you can use as coasters, or you can stitch. You can make them out of the, I have some, whoa, here we go. You can make them out of scrubby yarn to do your dishes, right? But these were all, this is the other star that I was talking about that you can't tell so much in this yarn. You'll see in the other yarn. It's more of a granny stitch kind of star. That was originally written as bunting, as Stars and Stripes bunting. I made 2 of them. I used the ends as stuffing, and then I actually, with this one, I like wrapped it around so you could see the star shape a little better. I wrapped some yarn around and tied it so you could see the star shape a little better, and it's a little poofy because I stuck the ends of the scrubby yarn in there. And then these are both just flat circle patterns. This one is in single crochet and this one is in half double crochet. And then again, I tossed the ends inside. I did 2 of them with the ends inside to kind of give it a little bit of mushiness, of squishiness. And then I did a round of single crochet around the outside, and they make great scrunchies. They make great scrubbies for washing your dishes. And the reason why I like to have them kind of padded a little bit with some of the yarn inside of it here is that I find that it kind of holds on to the soap and the water. It holds everything, the soap and water, a little bit better. So, and I don't know, there's just a little more heft to it. So you can really like scrub if you need to scrub things off. So I love this. This is all the scrubby yarn that's from Hirschner's as well. So, and all of these links will be in the posts. So these are modifications I made to some of the patterns that are not necessarily so much modification. They're, well, I guess you're making 2, you're stuffing it, you're putting a single crochet around the outside of it. But they're nice, ideas of how you can easily modify a pattern in a way that doesn't require you being a designer and doesn't require you being a pattern writer or a lot of math or anything like that. I have the hiccups. Let's see. All right, well, so we have some answers here. Sarah says water bottle holders. Yes, those are great to make in the summer because you need them in the summer, right? You need to stay hydrated. And Monique says she makes lots of kitchen stuff. Again, that's nice because they're smaller, so you don't have like a blanket worth of yarn on your lap. You can make, when you're making small items, then it's a lot. Small items are nice in the hot weather because it doesn't make you as hot because you don't have all that yarn you're working with, right? And it's also great little travel projects too. If you're like, out and about or having a picnic and the kids are like running around and playing and you just want to sit and chill for a while. Kitchen stuff, coasters, scrubby, hot pads. Exactly. Love the scrubby. It looks like a flower that is squishy. I know, right? Oh, this isn't the squishy. This is the squishy. This is the scrubby. I don't remember what the scrubby yarn is called. It will be in the post, but this fuzzy yarn is actually called squishy, which just makes me giggle uncontrollably when I'm using it. All right, Christy says hi, hi, and Monique says hi back. So, yeah, so all of those, I'm hoping to get a lot of these patterns up pretty quickly because they're actually currently on Jessie at Home, but they're from like 2014 or 15. And these patterns are from my batch of posts that lost all their photos. It was earlier on. There were other ways that I was putting the photos into my posts, and they all got disconnected from the blog. I have the photos. I have a file with all of those photos in them. So I'm working on getting the photos back into the post. So I just have to get all of the photos back into the posts, and then update the patterns, make sure, give them a check over to make sure that there aren't any errors in them. Some of them have had a lot of comments on them, and so there might be like 10 different people made the same request of, hey, can you show us two more rounds on this star, or whatever. So if there's that sort of stuff, I want to go ahead and do that. But I'm hoping to have even more of these patterns available ASAP. You can go to, here, I'll share my screen again. The best way to find all of these for now is the best way to find all of these is if you are initially on crochetfoundry.com, come on, woo. Then you go over here and you can click blog. La la la. I have that, the one I'm streaming from, and Instagram, because I have to have those all open, and yet it's still super slow. Okay, so that's the blog home. So you can see the most recent blog post was last week. I did a review on this really fun crochet. But rather than worrying about, how long ago, obviously this is the post we're looking for, but you don't have to worry about that. What you can do as I write more posts and things fall down the list is over here on the menu, you can click crochet along, CAL. All right. And even if I have, now this will be everything in the crochet along category in chronological order. So you can always type in summer 25 cal in the search bar right here. Okay, you could type that in. But as I have more posts about it, any post that I write about the cal will have a link back to the main post. So when you open this post, it talks a little bit about what the crochet along is about. Here's a picture from my old crochet along from 2015. I can never remember if it's 14 or 15, but there it says 2015. So here is a photo from the crochet along post. Here's the little bread basket I was talking about. That is actually just a piece of patriotic fabric inside of the bread basket. There's not a triangle design on it. So here's the bread basket. Here is a placemat. I think that one is crochet, and this one over here is knit. Here is the trivet. That is this pattern. That is the star pattern that I was showing you we're going to make a little pillow with. That's actually a centerpiece. This is it again as a trivet, and then this is actually a knit star. Here are some circular coasters, which is what I said I used to make the round scrubbies. And you can see we have both knit and crochet coasters. This is the other more granny style star, which is what I used to make the star scrubby. That is crochet. And here's some of the knit bunting hiding way back here. So this is just sample examples of a bunch of different patterns that I'm going to be updating. And guys, here's a fun little tip. If you don't have the fancy pants like a tablecloth clips that keep your tablecloth from flying away, I have literally, this is a piece of square fabric that I tossed on this round table, right? And on the four corners, I have simply clipped a bag chip, a bag clip. You know, little like when you roll up your bags and you put the clip on it? Yeah, I've clipped a bag clip onto the ends of them. And it just gives them a little weight. So, or if you have those little weighted clips for like when you're making I-cord with an I-cord maker or a French knitter or whatever, and they have like the clip that has like a weight in it, those are great too. So yeah, I just literally just clipped a bag clip on the four corners, and that kept it from like blowing away in the wind. Or from like flying, because it was flying up. Every time I went to take a picture, one of the corners would fly up and like fold over whatever was really looking pretty in the picture, just because, you know, Mother Nature likes to mess with me. So here's just the information on the crochet and knit along, and then at the end we are going to have, as all of the patterns are updated, they are being added here. I do have to add the other crochet bunting. I forgot to add it here when we got that pattern updated, but I'm hoping over the next week, before we talk again, I'll have a whole bunch more patterns updated. I don't, because it's just, I'm just simply giving them the TLC. And like I said, it's all from a batch of posts that I lost. The photos got separated from the blog post, so I need to add the photos back in. All right, let me stop the share, and then we have some more comments. Dory is over here on Instagram and says hello. Sarah says one of her current projects is a set of pan protectors for your mother-in-law with red, white, and blue cotton yarn. I love that. I was actually thinking this. I'm using this as a coaster. Look, I have one end I never wove in. I'm using this as a coaster. I made it as a scrubby, and then I was like, I'd rather use scrubby yarn to use a scrubby. So I've been using it as a coaster, which is why it's a little wet right now, because my drink is sweating. But it's the Turkish lift stitch. And it's really cool. But I was like, you know what, because it's got some like thickness to it, this would be really cool pan protectors. Because pan protectors, correct me if I'm wrong, but pan protectors are the pieces you put, like when you stack your pans, you put something in between them so they don't like damage each other. It's great if you have really nice china. People a lot of times will put like a little piece of cotton fabric or something between. This is great for pans because it's got a little squish to it, right? So it's nice and cushy. I love this actually for a coaster because it absorbs the water. Like you can see how wet it is on the top. It's barely wet on the bottom, which means it's not getting the stuff underneath my drink wet. The other thing you can do to avoid that is get that is put some sort of waterproof, water resistant fabric on the bottom of your coaster, or even cork or whatever. Monique likes that idea. And Sarah says, yes, they keep them from scratching each other. That's what I call pan. That's what I know as pan protectors, but sometimes people have different definitions for different things. So I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page there. So, there was something else I'm having brain fry, guys. There was something I thought of a moment ago and I was like, oh crap, I need to share this with them. And now it's gone again. Gone again. Okay, see now, squirrel, I'm totally having an ADHD squirrel moment. Every once in a while when I say gone again, I think of Sesame Street from when my twins were little and they would watch Sesame Street, and Abby Cadabby, the little fairy, they would have like this little like Abby Cadabby Playhouse little sketch that would sometimes come in Sesame Street, and one of her friends was named Gone Again. And whenever he got really embarrassed or anything, he would disappear. Like that was his little fairy powers. He could disappear. I don't mean he ran away. I mean he disappeared. He became invisible. And whenever he did it, they would be like, "Oh, he's gone again." That was his name. Was Gone Again. So there is your squirrel ADHD moment for today. Is I said something was gone again and thought of Abby Cadabby's friend. So My kids are 18 and I still think about this, right? Yeah, I wish I could remember what it was that I thought was important to share with you guys like 5 minutes ago, but it's gone again. So I'll remember as soon as I turn off the live. All right, and okay. See, now at least I'm not the only one. So sounds like a brain. Not again. Monique can totally relate. So let's see. We have our different crochet along patterns that are going up, that are coming up. Oh, the Discord group, guys. Y'all remember 12 minutes after the 12 minutes after the end. Yes, that's what Dory said, and I totally agree. It might have been just reminding you guys to go to join the Discord group. Do I have it listed here? I thought I did, but for some reason it's not. The invite thing, I thought I had it on a banner, but it's not showing. You know what? I need to add that under community. I need to add Discord under community. So I will do that. Okay. I will do that today so that when you go to community, you can add Discord, and I'll see if my, my little social share button app includes a button for Discord. I think it does. And if it does, I'll add the invite there as well. But if you go to Discord and you search like Jessie at Home, it should show up. If you actually need an invite, I think you might need an invite, or you can use the link. The link that I give counts as an invite. But if you can't find the link, then you can always email at support@crochetfoundry.com and just be like, I want to join the Discord and I can't find the invite link. I'll send it to you. No big deal. Okay. I love helping. So whenever you have any questions, feel free. I check that email several times a day. You know, I don't necessarily reply to everything right away, but when it's like a customer support question, I try to get to those ASAP. Okay. There's no point in doing something like Crochet Foundry, which is very much a customer focused thing, if you're not going to have good customer service, right? So, and really, you guys, I don't know. I'm not even fond of calling it customer service, because you guys are just kind of like, you're my community, right? You're my community, my fam. I love you guys. So, you know, I want to make sure you're all happy, and that Crochet Foundry, at the Foundry, Jessie at Home, that it's all stuff that it all fits with you. It all works well together, that we're all happy here, right? So I will, on Crochet Foundry and on Jessie at Home, see about getting the links for the Discord. On Crochet Foundry, it will be under community. There'll be a line that says Discord where you can just click on that. It'll pop you over there. And then if I can get the the social media icon up with my other social media icons, I'll toss it up there. I think there were one or two other icons I realized that I should add to Crochet Foundry that I don't have up here. Oh, YouTube, because Crochet Foundry and Jessie at Home share a YouTube channel. But I was like, well, just because it's using the same channel as Jessie at Home doesn't mean I shouldn't have it listed on Crochet Foundry. That's just silly, right? So, and remember, you can watch the replays of these on YouTube. I think we are pretty much good for today. If you guys have any other like things you like to crochet or whatever for the summer, you can go ahead and let me know those in like an email or reply to a newsletter or whatever. Because once I get everything updated from the old crochet along that we're updating and adding to the new crochet along, maybe I'll add a couple patterns if I have some time. You know, this runs all the way through the end of August. And if you are a paid member of Patreon, of the At the Foundry Patreon, which is, I do have that link right there. If you are a Patreon member on a paid level, not on the free level, then you will get the PDFs of all of these patterns for free. So when you're over on the when you're on the post, let's see if I can just find it in a back post. Here we go. There. So when you are on this post, here we go. You can see at the Foundry Patreon, paid members can get the patterns and PDFs with the printables. All of these patterns that are on here will be available on Crochet Foundry. The PDFs of the patterns. So the patterns themselves are on free online. Okay, so we can open up, like we can open up this pattern and you'll see the pattern is right here. It's online. It's free. You can make it off of the online pattern. It's just taking a minute to open up here because, again, we're live, so it likes to go slow because the live stream takes a lot of thought. So you can make the pattern for free from the ad-supported website, and I get paid by the ad support, right? Or if you don't want to use the ad-supported website, you want the PDF. There are various places you can get the PDF, right? Here's where you can get the ad-free pinnable PDFs. There's Crochet Free. On Crochet Foundry, you can buy just the pattern, or you can get the pattern with, so here's the pattern PDF, and here's a pattern PDF with, this has, there we go, a knit project page, that, because this is the knit one that you can fill out, and the gift tags for if you're making this as a gift. At the Foundry page, Patreon paid member, and I don't mind sharing the code with everybody because the code is set up in such a way that it only works for people who have Patreon member. If not, you'd have to pay for the PDF, but the pattern online is always free. All right, so there's all that. I hope to see a whole bunch of you in 6 hours from 7 to 9 Eastern time for our sit and stitch, which you can find the link on our event calendar, which is under community, and is also in the newsletter that you should have gotten over the weekend. There's always the links for the upcoming sit and stitches. So once this populates, the link will be right up here for you. And I hope to see a bunch of click on that and it'll get you the link to the sit and stitch so you can come and join us tonight. Have a wonderful day, and I will hopefully talk to you tonight. And if not, then I will see you again next week. And next week, the sit and stitch is one of the Patreon member only ones, and it's in the morning from 10 to noon Eastern, and we usually end a few minutes before noon so that I can take a little comfort break before the lunch with the Foundry. Now I'm going to go and heat up some of the leftover homemade ramen I made last night for lunch because I'm getting hungry, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.